like I mentioned yesterday, we finished the Martin Luther King reading, so today you're going to find out who our new Who Was book is about. So, without further ado, we are going to be reading Who Was Walt Disney. So I actually don't know much about Walt Disney, so I was super excited to pick this book up and get to reading it. So, we are starting today on chapter 1. This new book, chapter 1. Who was Walt Disney? Walt Disney liked being the class clown. He once said that he would do anything for attention. His schoolmates in Marcel, Missouri loved his performances. Once, he caught a field mouse and made a leash for it out of string. He waltzed into the class and paraded his new pet around the room. If one of you did that, I would freak out, and you know that. So there he is with his little mouse or rat or whatever he found in the field, carrying it into class on his little leash that he made out of string. Pretty funny. So you can tell he was already starting to be the class clown even as a kid. Nobody saw the little critter and screamed. Walt's teacher marched right over, put an end to the mischief, and punished Walt. But he didn't care. He and his mouse were famous for a day. Walt Disney didn't know it then, but one day another mouse, one named Mickey, would make him famous all over the world. The farm. On December 5th, 1901, Walt Elias Disney was born in an upstairs bedroom of a 2-story cottage on North Tripp Avenue in Chicago. Walt's father, Elias, had built the house himself. Here's a picture of his family. Walt's mother, Flora, was trained as a teacher, but she gave up her career to raise her 5 children. She was friendly and warm, and her husband was short-tempered and stern. By the time Walt was 4, the neighborhood was growing rough, so the family moved to a farm in Marcel, Missouri. It was the happiest time in Walt's childhood. Walt loved his new home. Even though Marcel was a small town, it was still exciting, Marceline, for Walt's to head down to Main Street with all of the little stores. Around the farm were weeping willows and apple and peach and plum trees. Walt watched rabbits, squirrels, possums, foxes, and raccoons scurry around the pond. He even liked to ride on pigs. Even though often he fell off and landed in the mud. And he and his friends trotted on Charlie, an old-fashioned horse. Charlie charged through the trees without caring about his riders. Walt had to jump off of to keep from bonking his head on a branch. Walt's parents and older brothers, Herbert, Raymond, and Roy, were too busy with farm chores to take Walt to school. So he didn't start until he was almost 7. By then, his younger sister Ruth, who was 5, was ready for school too. Walt said that starting school with his younger sister was the most embarrassing thing that could happen to a fellow. After school, Walt went fishing. In the winter, he went sledding or skating on a frozen creek. On Sundays, the Disneys visited neighbors. Sometimes Elias played fiddle. It was one of the few times he saw his father having a good time. Walt always wanted to entertain people, to make them have a good time. Once, a group of actors came to town to perform Peter Pan. It was about a boy who never grows up. Walt loved the play and got to play Peter in his school's production of the play. His brother Roy hooked up wires to lift Walt into the air. To the audience, it looked like he was flying. But the wires broke, and Walt went flying into the surprised crowd. Oh my goodness. Almost as soon as he could hold a pencil, Walt spent hours and hours drawing. He told everybody that he was an artist. His proudest possessions were crayons and drawings from his Aunt Margaret. Walt definitely did have his talents. His neighbor, Doc Sherwood, thought Walt was so good that he asked for pictures of his horse. The horse wouldn't stand still, and Walt had trouble drawing his portrait. But Doc Sherwood and his wife praised the picture. It made Walt very proud. Even drawing could get Walt into trouble. One day, he discovered a barrel of black tar. It was soft as paint. He and Ruth dipped big sticks into the tar and drew pictures all over the side of their white house. Their parents were not happy at all when they saw the artwork. The tar wouldn't come off. Oh my goodness. How mad would your parents be if you took tar, like gross stuff like they put on the streets, and you put it on your house and it wouldn't come off? Oh my goodness. So here's a picture of them drawing with the tar on their house, and here's a picture of him falling into the stand. So you can already see that Walt is a pretty crazy kid, even just as a kid. All right, so I'm really excited to keep reading this book with you. So check in on Monday to see what happens.